Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Tuesday, it's September 3rd. This will be our chart lesson for today. And real quick look at our daily chart. You can see we had a big bearish day. We closed off the lows a little, slightly off the lows. Still a really bearish day, and it was mostly just downhill all day today. Again, we did recover a little bit just for the close, but not a lot of it. So big bearish day. I mean, we went right through the midline, pushed relatively low. We obviously we failed out the top of this uh, tight range here, and now we've fallen out the bottom. Will we fail and turn back? We'll have to see. So let's see what happens here. But very bearish day to start the week. So we'll just have to see what tomorrow brings. Will we get follow through selling, or will we? I would expect we would at least pull back and test this breakout area, but we'll just have to see what tomorrow brings. So uh, anyway, let's flip over to the 2,000 tick chart and take a look at it and go through the trades. Okay, this is how I saw it. Mostly downhill. It does look like we had another trend line here and a bigger with a bigger two-tiered channel. You didn't get a lot of plays off of this, but all the same, I think it's there. And if you saw that, then yes, you're looking at it properly. But you don't get a lot of plays off this at all. So, and there's not a lot of really red or blue trades today. There's a lot of green ones, but we just didn't get. I mean, it just was all downhill, and it was fairly strong at times until I would say really around 9 something we kind of went sideways for a bit before we started down again. Then it was really strong down with a lot of that coming after 2:30 before we took some back here. But this is how I saw it. So yeah, pretty down, pretty much a down day. So really from start to finish. Again, we had some sideways stuff there at times, but in the end, it's mostly downhill until about 2:45. We kind of rallied up and we closed. I don't know if you can see it all there. And we actually turned down a little bit from that. We could have, like we were going to continue higher into the close, but we did turn down there right before the close. So really strong downtrend day. Again, there's not a lot of trades because these channels are so tight. It's all so tight. You don't get a lot of second entries or anything like that. But you know, it is what it is, and we trade what we see, and that's pretty much it. Not much else we can do. So, but let me zoom in here, and we'll go through these trades, and we'll wrap today up. Okay, 7 o'clock came right in here as we're trending up and making this little high here. You do get a second entry short and another test here, but that signal bar is just not good enough. We push down and break out. You know, you might consider going long right there. It's one of those. Generally, I'd wait on a high or low, and you just never really get one. It just keeps pushing lower. This one is real close. It looks like 2 legs back to the EMA, and we tested this multiple times. This is a pretty good signal bar. So maybe you go short there. I marked it green because it's not a perfect setup. You could argue there's a triple test in there, and clearly you can see it's 2 legs back, and it turns down fairly strongly. So maybe you take that, maybe you don't. There's another second entry right here, first entry, second entry, but it's mostly sideways, and we didn't quite get back to the trend line, the EMA. You could argue that this is a failed second entry long too. There's several reasons that maybe you take that one. I marked it green. It's not a perfect setup, but again, it's a setup there, and so maybe you consider it. We confirmed the trend line here. It's just a first entry, and we had a notice you got a new high, then you got a first entry, second entry. So that's a failed second entry long. And again, it does kind of look like 2 legs back to the EMA. And we did test this. You can see where we came back and tested that breakout a couple of times. So again, actually this should be right here, right there. So you can see there's a failed second entry long there. So maybe you go short right there. That took us into the news. There was a 9 o'clock PMI here, manufacturing news announcement. So it's red. So be flat on that one. And there's a nice second entry in there. There's actually a couple of them, but I wouldn't take. You can't take either one of them during that news item. And we did get a break and a new low, and we're getting an overshoot here. This one comes back, and you do get a second entry long here. Notice you get or second entry short, I'm sorry. First entry, and then it tries to go higher. So when it breaks below that, it's pretty low risk, like 8 ticks. Turns out to be a pretty good move. But we've already had a break and a new low, but a lot of times you'll get 2 measured legs, which it looks like we probably do get 2 measured legs. It's pretty close. By the time it was over, you can see we didn't quite get the measured leg there, but it's pretty close. So, but that may lend you to want to take that trade right there. And of course, you get another overshoot, and you tried to go lower a few times. You get a triple test there. I like going long. This actually, this is somewhat of an engulfing bar, but what you'd want to do, this is an inside bar, so you got to wait for this to close, and it's a fairly big bar. I still liked it. What you might do is let this break higher and drop a limit order back in here a point or two and see if you can get a little better entry. You could call this a higher low, but I wouldn't go long there. And you can clearly see we're kind of working up, close outside new high. And you might even say we confirm this trend line here, but at the very least you get a first entry, second entry, and then a lower high here. That's a big bearish bar. As long as you got room to scalp out there, I like that one, because you could bounce there again, but you got room. There's another setup right here. You could treat that like a lower high, but it's moved a little too far and it's right into support, so just skip that. We drop on down, then we're just kind of working sideways again. There is a second entry short here, but you can't. Signal bar is no good, and then it's just all too tight sideways. And there's just no setups here. It just keeps dropping lower and lower, and you get a first entry, and then you get a second entry, but no setup there, and then it just reverses. These are all first entries. I don't really see anything I like there until finally you do get a close outside the new high here. I didn't like going short because we weren't back to the trend line, but when you make the lower high still away from the EMA, I like that one. You even got a triple test, but no setup here. I'm not sure why I marked that one. I guess I marked that green because we weren't quite back to the trend line, but I like that trade in real time. This is obviously a double bottom. You could treat that as a double bottom. Oh, I see what it is. This is a lower high. You get a first entry, second entry right here. And you might take that one as well, but it's a little risky. But this one, I think you're fine. But it's a lower high. A really good signal bar as well. I don't know why I didn't mark that red. Maybe I just accidentally marked it green, or maybe I was thinking about it. But I think you're okay to take that trade right there. I mean, this does look like all one move up, even though there is a first entry, second entry. So really it looks like a first entry, second entry right here with a lower high. I like that setup. I don't know why I had it marked green there. I think I might have marked it green by accident. And you get several bounces of sideways here, but none of them are good enough to go long. Then you get that failed breakout, and it comes right off the trend line, but it's just not a good enough signal bar. If you had a bearish signal bar there, go short by all means. And then you get a failed breakout the low side, and this actually breaks lower and fails and turns up. I like going long there just to try to ride it back to the EMA. I did mark this one green because there's no close. I mean, you do get a close outside a new low, but it's all in one bar, which is not ideal. But you're going to get something like that, especially on range days when they're real tight trends like that. And of course, we turn down here. I don't like any of these setups. Till right here. Notice here you get a move up first entry and then second entry. And we pretty much tried to go higher 3 times there. And that's a big bearish bar, but I still like going short on it. Break below that. We're going to retest this low most likely. And you actually get another trend down, close outside, new low, and then it reverses. And that's a second entry long. You got a little room back to the EMA. It's just so bearish today. I just was a little wary of going long when we're still making lower highs and lower lows there. You can clearly see this channel. Looks like it's played out, but so maybe you take that. I'm just not crazy about it. And we start down again, and there's a very nice setup right there. You know, maybe you call that a lower high, but it's just a first entry because we did make a new low there. You could argue that we've tried to go higher multiple times here. I mean, I guess that's a possibility of a green one. And it drops down a little lower, and then we're just chopping sideways. This one's a failed breakout. It's a fairly bearish bar, but and you do get a close outside and a new high all in one on this little move up. It's not ideal. And again, you might argue that we've turned down there multiple times. Again, I'm not crazy about it, but I marked it green. And you do get a nice signal bar here, but you got to go long right at the highs. And we're in a downtrend, so. But clearly here we get a triple test of the trend line, like a little continuation pattern here. So I like that trade right there. You got a hidden second entry here. I marked it green. And this is just an attempt to go higher 3 times. Right along that trend line. This is a hidden second entry. Nice signal bar. I marked it green. You can't enter in all that. And then you don't want to enter down here, just chopping lower. Finally, you get a move up, and it just takes off again, and you just don't really get another setup. You might say there's a failure here, but usually don't trade failures after you've got a break. It's usually during the trend line. This is sideways. Now we did get a triple test here and a nice signal bar. I like that one. There's room there to scalp out. And you can see this is a good example of why you need room, because it does bounce there and go back to the highs again. And that just takes us into 230. So you can see as much movement as there is, there's not a lot of trades there. Really from about 9 o'clock into lunchtime, there were a few trades. And none of them are ideal, perfect setups hardly. There's something about them that makes them less than ideal. I mean, they're good enough to be red or blue, but they're just not. They're not the ones you look at and say, "Hey, that's clearly a second entry in a strong trend at the key entry point." They're not those kind of trades really for the most part, and it's a shame because it's mostly all downhill. But we're going to get days like this. We'll see what tomorrow's going to bring. Are we going to rally tomorrow or continue down? We'll just have to wait and see. It's difficult to know. It was definitely bearish today. So if that bearish overtone hangs around tomorrow, I mean, notice we never filled this gap either. This is where we closed previously, and we opened here this morning. And you can see we never even tried to feel that. We just, the bottom just fell out. So, and this was the holiday stuff till noon. That's why I say don't. This is why I say don't trade this stuff. I mean, you sit around till noon and this is all you got. It's just not worth trying to trade that. So don't try to trade that stuff. But anyway, there it is. Hopefully you found a couple of setups here today that you needed, and if you're sim trading, just take them all that you think meet the criteria. And on days like this, there could be some other greens in there that I just didn't see them, or just didn't think they were worth trading. So there could be some others in there, other green ones in there. Uh, but anyway, I'm not going to beat around the bush today. We're going to have a short week, obviously, because we had the Monday holiday. But hopefully it'll pick up tomorrow, and we'll get some good setups tomorrow, and we'll go from there. But that's going to do it for today. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.